Welcome once again to another Heart to Heart Talk. With me, I'm John Kuert, pastor at Alpha Assembly in Clarion, Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that today's little thought will be a blessing to you. Maybe it'll encourage you, maybe it'll challenge you. But whatever, let God do something in your heart today, as this message comes from my heart to your heart. Actually, from God's heart to my heart to your heart. Well, anyway, I'm really glad that you're here, and I hope that each day when we have these little devotionals that they'll be a real blessing to you. Well, in 2 Samuel, chapter 5, we see that finally David becomes the king of Israel. It says in verse 4, David was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned 40 years. And what's so amazing about this is that David had many opportunities before this to take matters into his own hands and seize the throne, but instead he waited for God's perfect timing. There were two instances during the time when Saul and his armies were chasing David and trying to kill him, when David found Saul sleeping in a cave. Right then and there, he could have taken Saul's life, which really would have been self-defense, but instead he refused to touch the Lord's anointed, and in so doing, he chose to trust God to bring it to pass rather than to force the issue. Not only did this reveal David's loyalty and integrity, but even more importantly, his confidence in God to bring the fulfillment of his divine plans and purpose in his time. You see, David knew that God had chosen him when years earlier Samuel had anointed him to be the next king of Israel. And so David's logic was, if this is truly God's plan, and God is so awesome and powerful and in control, he will make it happen at the perfect time and place. David was not an opportunist, driven with a desire for power. No, he was calmly and deliberately trusting God to bring about the time, the place, when it would come to be, when it would be, and if he waited for that, it would be so sweet. And eventually it did happen. And not only was the coronation unanimous among the people of Israel, but God pronounced his blessing and favor on David by saying, "You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will become their ruler." And he was king for the next 40 years. Well, there's a great lesson for us to learn here. See, so often we are told that we have to be aggressive. We need to take things into our own hands. Take control of your life is the philosophy that's kind of drilled into us by the voices of this world. And now I'm not advocating that we shouldn't have dreams and goals and step up to the plate when it's our turn. I'm not saying that we should be passive and just sit back and let God do it all. What I am saying is that we need to trust God more and give him time to bring about his plans and his purposes for our lives. Remember this verse from Ecclesiastes 3:11. I've said it many times. In his own time, he makes everything beautiful. I think it's obvious as we look around us at our world what happens as a result of people taking things into their own hands and having it their way when they want it. The consequences of broken lives and shattered dreams are everywhere. But how much better to know God and his plans and then just be alert to his perfect timing to make it happen. Way back early in the days of my ministry when I was just beginning, well, actually, I was on a little ways into ministry, but there were several churches that had invited us to come, and they were larger churches with new buildings, and they offered a larger salary, and it would have been so easy to jump at those opportunities since we had already felt the Lord directing us to resign from the position where we had been. But instead of jumping at those situations, we waited, and God directed us to a church that has proved over the years to be such an exciting ministry opportunity that has far surpassed those other two churches put together. And I hope that you'll discover the secret of waiting and trusting in God more and more, because it really is the best route to a bright future. Well, that's it for today, and I hope and pray that you're blessed by that thought, and I hope it'll help to give you a direction. I know a lot of people are always looking for the will of God, and how do we know it? You'll know it when it happens, and it'll become clear, and you won't have to guess at it. Well, again, I'm the pastor at Alpha Assembly in Clarion, Pennsylvania. Check out our website, alphaag.org, or go to our Facebook page to learn more about the church. It's a great and growing little church, and God is blessing us. And we would love to have you. You'll enjoy the worship. I try to bring a relevant message each week, and the fellowship is great. We're located at 499 Grand Avenue Extension in Clarion, Pennsylvania, just down from the Clarion University. Well, God bless. Have a great day. And Lord willing, we'll see you again real soon. In the meantime, be blessed. Bye.